This is Blazers All Access, an inside look at UAB athletics. Presented by Pepsi, a Southern original, and Viva Health, part of the UAB health system. Here's the voice of the Blazers, David Crane.
We welcome you to Blazers All Access one final time as we go one-on-one with head coach Trent Dilfer following the Blazers' loss at North Texas in the season finale. Let's get the Pepsi game recap, 45-42, the final. Some positives, some negatives, but it seemed like the third quarter just refused to be your friend all season long.
I'm going to wake up in cold sweats this offseason about the third quarters of football games. We got to fix it. It's the first thing we talked about. And we've been talking about for the last, 8 weeks, but there's definitely something we have to look deep into the offseason about fixing those third quarters. It cost us, you could argue, 3 or 4 football games this season. So this was another tale of it. We couldn't get stops and we couldn't score points, and I personally, I felt offensively a lot of it was on the offense to control the first half like the offense did, and then to not be able to run the ball with authority, not be able to finish that first drive off, not be able to just, put the game away offensively was really frustrating, and allowed them, because those short drives in the second, third possessions of the third quarter to hold the football. They end up with 101 football plays, and yes, part of that's defense can't get stops. Defense is not doing their job, but the offense to give them the ball back that quick and allow a high-powered offense to do those things was our demise. So it's frustrating, apologetic. We're already at work trying to fix it, but it was kind of the story of the season.
Let's get the Viva Health Blazers of the game. We went with a couple of them this week. You mentioned the running game that sputtered a little bit in that third quarter, but for the day you finished with 2 guys over 100 yards. Brown and Beebe combined to go 25 carries, 217 yards, and 4 touchdowns for you.
Explosive runs. They did some really, really, really special things. Unblocked defenders that they made miss. Straight arms, finishing with violence. They really played great. And carried us. The problem was, in the third quarter when they started containing that and forcing them up inside, we weren't able to get any movement, weren't able to create any creases for them, and then get behind in the ball game and have to throw it to get back. So those 2 played great. Wish we could have got them the ball more often in the third quarter.
Are you getting sacked by monthly fees on your checking account? Trent Dilfer here, head coach of the UAB Blazers. Legacy Credit Union's everyday checking account can get you back in the game. No minimum balance, no monthly fees, and get paid up to 2 days early. Check out LegacyCreditUnion.com for more information and apply today. Legacy, the official credit union of UAB.
Next up for the Blazers, brought to you by Legacy Credit Union. You mentioned it in passing a moment ago. The offseason is here. What does the timeline sort of look like for you, the staff, and the players?
Well, I think you got to be intense. You got to be intentional. There has to be a white-hot intensity around this building. We got to recognize we are who we are. You are who your record says you are. So I'm a 4-8 head coach, and that's a 4-8 locker room, and those are 4-8 assistant coaches. And I think it starts by looking yourself in the mirror. I've always believed that. I've been part of fixes. I've been part of turnarounds. I've also been part of where they don't. And the common denominator is when you do, you look at yourself first. You don't make excuses, you don't point the finger, you don't cast blame, you say, okay, how can I get better? So that starts with me. I've already started doing that. I'll use this entire, I'd say 6 weeks of self-reflection of things I can be much better at, and I promise I will be, but everybody in the building needs to do that too. And there's an intensity to that. There's a locked in, put my feelings aside and be like, you know what, I owe everybody more, and I'm going to fix this. And if we all take that approach, we'll be better. And then we got to be intentional about the things we try to fix. Anytime you go 4-8, anytime you lose the last game of the season, there's a natural knee-jerk reaction to it. But so you got to be wise in what you respond to, and you got to be intentional about what you go to fix right away. Everything's important, but only certain things are urgent. If I have time, I'll give you a quick Tony Dungy story. Tony would always talk to us at the end of the year. He's like, hey, the only 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to be miserable at the end of the season, or you're going to be like a narcissist because you just won the Super Bowl. And there's no in between, right? That's the end of the season. Either better than you think you are, or you're miserable. And he said, neither are good times to make decisions. So take 2 weeks. let the emotions go away. You don't want to make emotional decisions. Then come back and make intentional decisions on change. And I think that's kind of the approach here. We're going to let some things breathe. We're at work and we're trying to fix some things, but a lot of that's data entry. A lot of that's self-examination. A lot of that's reviewing schemes, reviewing personnel. We're recruiting heavily right now. And then in a couple weeks, when the emotion dies down a little bit, we can really lock in on the specific things that are urgent that we need to fix before spring ball.
The if in life, it's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends, if you can keep an eye on your money along the way, if you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings, when you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regions Bank embrace the if in life.
You mentioned it in closing out the last segment, spring ball. That is kind of the next big thing that the fans and everybody can look forward to, isn't it?
Well, I think there's 2 neat signing days between that. You know, these won't be huge. This won't be a huge class. We had a ginormous class last year. So this should be in the teens, you know, this year. But, you know, the December 20th signing period is an important one. And then the February, I think it's 1st this year, 1st or 3rd, that first Wednesday in February is a really important one as well. So I think those are 2 key dates. But, yeah, it's all pointed towards spring ball. And again, it's something that I think we did well for our first year, but we got to do better. So already this morning we've had conversations about how to make spring ball better. So that's a big time, and we'll have a new roster. That's the nature of football. You're going to have a new roster every single year. There'll be changes, and you know, hopefully the guys will be bigger and stronger and fired up getting into spring ball, and we got to make drastic improvements because, you know, just so people know, we played 26 true freshmen this year. Or sorry, 26 freshmen, true and redshirt. We only had 6 returning starters to start the year. 5 of them are now gone because they're seniors. So we do have a really nice foundation of young players that got a lot of experience. Now we got to build on that in spring ball to hopefully catapult us to a much better 2024.
I know you wanted more than 4 wins. We all did, but appreciate everything. It's been a lot of fun.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Happy holidays to everyone. We'll take a little break. We appreciate you being with us during football season. Hope you'll be back with us for Blazers All Access as we go one-on-one with Andy Kennedy in basketball season. For all of us at the Blazer Sports Network, I'm David Crane. Thanks for being with us. So long.
This is Blazers All Access, an inside look at UAB athletics. Presented by Pepsi, a Southern original, and Viva Health, part of the UAB health system.